They carry out this suspected action, I think October 30th, on a Sunday, on a holy day. It was around 10 p.m. They burnt, the greatest monument of democracy, which is the first thing that the governor of the state should protect. After burning that House of Assembly, nothing happened, at least in terms of the response from the state governor and then some principal officers. Nothing happened. Just allowed to and then surprisingly, they moved in bulldozers and excavators, to bring down the status of democracy. That is, in fact, a classical case of state terrorism, because no matter what, I don't think I've ever read a case where the governor, in the quest for power, will now go after public institutions to destroy them, built with billions of naira. So that tells you the infinite capacity of certain individuals to commit crime.
Wale, but the governor's excuse was that
it's surprising.
Integrity.
That a building so vast like that, you now bring it down because of certain little errors. I mean, it's very ridiculous for anybody to believe that. And one was wondering, what did he do when these acts were carried out? Burning and all that kind of thing. Well, what we are looking at is to see a situation where there will be justice for the people of Rivers State, so that these elements will be brought, because terrorism is a very serious offense.
It's a capital offense.
Yeah, you can be sentenced, life imprisonment, if you are found guilty. And I think it's also a lesson for people who allow themselves to use as pawns in the chess game of anarchy. That at the end of the day, the government, those who send you, will not be there to defend you, because they have arrested ordinary people now. Where are the sponsors? They go scot-free. So people should avoid the situation where they are used by politicians. But at the end of the day, they are going to carry the consequences on their shoulders all alone.
Yeah, well, I know that you have not passed moral judgment. No, you're just reacting to...
Yeah, to the judge, the court will decide at the end of the day.
Yeah,
what is the situation.
Tunde, that in a 21st century Nigeria, we can be saddled with things like this. Should boggle the mind?
Well, it truly, because one thing that we have to be sure of is that this present crop of politicians, they are what I call political desperados. Like he said, if because of a minor infraction on the course of politics, and you have disagreement, a party chooses to inflict serious injury on an institution of democracy, and the sitting government, under that excuse, the following week, went there and pulled down the whole structure. It is for two reasons. Number one, either because the ruling government fears that the House of Assembly is about to be used to remove him from power, or that in the quest, because already as we speak now, a new contract for the building of another House of Assembly will have been awarded by the state government, which means you have done two things. Morally, you have inflicted deep wounds on politics in the state. Secondly, you are going to spend the money bid by the people. So, see, you begin to ask, what manner of people do we have in government? But you don't blame them. You don't blame what you are expressing now, because in as much as the process of getting elected from the local government to the presidency is fraught with a lot of irregularities, with a lot of corruption and compromising of the political system. You are going to have characters like this in government. And when you have people like this in government, there is no surety that democracy can be served for the people. It is the highest bidder in terms of power, in terms of money, in terms of state coercion of resources for elective officers to have their way all the time. But when they have their way all the time, which means the people and democracy, and that is what is happening in Rivers State. Nobody can convince me that at the end of the day, the people have not lost, because it is their money that they will use to reconstruct that place. Remember that those people that were so impeached are about to get back to the place. The commissioners that were sacked, they are about to be restated. Same thing we are experiencing in those
begs the question of why was the problem created in the first place?
It was created because of the struggle for power. Struggle for power, in Nigerian democracy of the Fourth Republic, either his sitting governor or his political master who put him there, they are struggling for political space. Then you ask yourself, why is it so early today? The man took office May 29. problem started exactly 5 months after he took office between him and his former principal. So they are struggling for political sphere of political influence.
Yeah.
Like what is happening in the Middle East. People are struggling.
Well, Wale, you know, the 32nd president of America, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, said, if anything happens by accident in politics, know that it was planned that way. So all of these things were planned.
Yeah. And I think,
in your estimation?
Yeah, of course. Planned, carefully planned and designed, from conception to implementation. Just like my colleague, said, it's all in the quest for power. But I think I see a lot of lack of wisdom in this. Because if you are just coming in as a new governor, it's like a plane that is trying to take off. You need to get to the altitude, stabilize. Then you can now decide, the level, the pilot can now begin to relax. But we are just coming in. I felt there should have been a bit of, patience. Either people are even trying to dip their hands in your mouth and all that. You need to be patient, at least for the first 1 year. And you must know that politics is give and take. For you to have been brought in as the governor, it's not as if you are the best. People make sacrifices. People bend down so that you can climb on their shoulders. So while coming in there, you need to be able to balance the various contending interests, that brought you to power. So that at the end of the day, it's not that you want to have the 100%. Politics is about negotiation and debating with people, all the other interests that are involved. But if you think you want to have everything, you are going to have crisis for the first 1 year, and your second term will be very difficult to guarantee.
Yeah. Tunde brings to the fore the issue of godfathers. Godfathers abound across the world, but in our country, you get the impression godfathers are substitutes for democracy.
Godfathers exist, and they are relevant in Nigeria because of the pauperization of the political system.
Relevant.
They are relevant. Pauperization in the sense that if I live in Lagos most of my life, I've been in Lagos for the past over 30 years now, and I want to be governor of my state. The only thing I have to do is to have a deep pocket. I will move to my local government, buy all the structures, give them a lot of money. The moment you give them money, maybe if you have two, like say, I know they have about 245 wards. If I can buy 240 wards, sponsor their offices, everything, I have become the political officer. The moment I become the governor, I have sponsored myself. I will be interested in who succeeds me. And throughout the 4 years they will be there, they will nurture that political process. When they nurture it, you now pick somebody. Most governors who are wise, politicians who are wise, they don't pick politicians to succeed them. They pick technocrats or civil servants to succeed them.
Who will give them no trouble.
Who will not give them any problem. But unfortunately, in River State, this man has gone to pick another person who he perceives will not give him problem. But unfortunately, the man wants to remove the person who puts him there. And that is the owners. So they are, like the former governor Wike said, he said it's a struggle for political structure of River State. Like he said, you wonder why the new governor is in such a hurry to erase the footprint of his godfather. Is it so easy to erase the footprint of?
Okay, all right. We are joined by Blessing. Blessing is reaching us from Ajuma. I think that's somewhere in Lagos here.
In Ondo State, Ajuma Institute.
Okay. Blessing, good evening. Welcome.
Hello.
Yeah, welcome. Go on, Blessing. Okay. All right. Let's quickly take this home. Wale, have you ever considered a jobless politician?
Well, I think there are people who have taken politics as a profession. They think profit is...
it's a way of life.
It's a way of life. It's business. And that when you are going to politics, you need to make money. You can't compare such people with politicians like Aminu Kano, politicians like Balarabe Musa.
Oh, yeah.
The last time I met him in Kaduna before he died, his doors were open. Meet him and then you see somebody who has a lot of knowledge. And that's why we are saying it's not as if Godfather is bad in the real sense of it, but it is the purpose. Obama, the former governor of Illinois, was they usually refer to him as his godfather, his political mentor. So for me, I would have wished somebody like Awolowo was my godfather. Yes. Because a lot of things for you to learn, they will groom you, make you pass through the rudiments of politics. But in a situation where the godfather wants you to come and settle him every it doesn't care about your programs.
That's the
environment.
Wale, because when you become governor, you can't be your own man. That's where the trouble is.
That's where the trouble is, because the idea of godfather here is that when you get there, come and settle my pocket. I must determine all your commissioners. You must come and bring me return. Okay. It's not about the
quickly, we have another call from Ikorodu. Isaiah, I hope that's the name. I greet you. Welcome, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Our politicians, they are just like that. My belief is all of them, they are thinking. But the end-start problem in Lagos. Many people, many damages that happen in Lagos is our money they use to repair it later. So these politicians, they are not thinking about us. That's why they are wasting our state money. So I feel that maybe if they are thinking, they are not thinking about their own. They will be thinking about the masses. God will save us. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, God will save us today, but we have a lot of work to do.
Well, we have a lot of work in this.
Because God has given us the brains, but it never intended for us to leave the use of the brains.
Well, because like what you have identified, characters who are not defined, who have no vision for the people, hijack the political process because they have money. In those days, I still tell people that during the Second Republic, you can't even print a poster except you have been nominated by your party. It is your party that will print the posters, that will do the mobilization for you. That is when the party reigns. In those days, when you hear the House of Assembly talk at plenary, the governor will listen to them.
Oh, yeah.
But today, for instance, if Ogun State has 26 members in the House of Assembly, the governor will nominate 24 out of the 26, which means the House of Assembly is in his pocket.
All right.
That is all.
We must stop the politics of River State here and move to another state, Ondo State. Okay. The new governor of Ondo State, Lucky Ayedatiwa, sworn in on December 27, 2023, if you remember, has nominated a former deputy clerk of the National Assembly, Olayide Owolabi Adelami. I hope I got that right.
Yes, got it.
To become the deputy. Now, this development was confirmed by the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Olamide Oladiji, who is constitutionally the number 3 citizen of the state. It is a warm welcome to the new number 2 citizen in Ondo State. What do you say?
Well, anyway, probably the new governor is trying to stabilize he planned a political coup, and this first coup is to pick somebody from a war, where the late governor came from. Secondly, this man stepped down for Akeredolu during the second term in office. He contested for the APC.
Okay, the deputy governor
now he contested. Probably the calculation of the governor, like it is normal in Nigeria, the governor will want to succeed himself.
That's the man's face on the screen.
Yes. Yeah. The governor will want to succeed himself next year, this year, during the election this year. So that's his political move. Well, it is now left to whether the new deputy who is speaking from a war has the same political structure or has the same weight as Akeredolu, or is accepted by the supporters, because that's another thing. The supporters of Akeredolu, who is eminently influential in Ondo politics until he breathed last, whether they will embrace this one. But it's a carefully calculated political move by him to get the supporters of Akeredolu to his side. And you and I know that while the governor was alive, the former deputy Ayedatiwa was not particularly in the best of relationship with the members of the State House of Assembly. So how he will navigate with this man is another thing. Because the primary has to come.
If you were Lucky Ayedatiwa, would you have sacked Rotimi Akeredolu's appointees?
I wouldn't have exactly, because of politics. The appointment of this man came barely 24 hours after he sacked all the political appointees. And you remember that any political appointee, whether an advisor or a commissioner, has his own followers.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying that the man tried to plan a coup. Whether that coup will work is another thing. Because all those who sacked, they cannot be less than 25 or 30. If there are people who have political followers, he has more job to do to woo the supporters of Akeredolu, most of whom have been sent to the unemployment market to decide during the primary later this year.
While I come to my rescue here, so for Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, this is his first term as governor.
Yes.
But he's going to, the next election, is he likely to run for governor?
There is a very strong suspicion
that he might fly the flag.
Might fly the flag. And I think, just like my colleague said, the choice of Adelami, for so many reasons, to mend fences with the, Akeredolu's kinsmen, indigenous people of war, and also for strategic consideration. He needed to pick somebody that is not likely to contest the election this year.
Or give him wahala in any
Yes. There's no way or will have produced a successor to Akeredolu just like this. So picking somebody like that means that you are not going to have a deputy governor that will give you problem. The other strategic consideration...
Sorry, I hear that politicians evade picking another politician for the office.
Of course, because...
They go for technocrats.
Unless the party insists that, you must pick this, and let's say the party is stronger than the government. But in this case, the money has just, I think it's about 62 or 63. If Aiyedatiwa wins, if he contests and wins, in the next 4 years, there is no way this deputy, if he still picks him, will wish to contest election. Because he can, Aiyedatiwa cannot, the successor to Aiyedatiwa cannot also come from
a war again.
Before it comes to the turn of war, it's going to be a very long time. So he has created a kind of an atmosphere in the state executive that is going to be less acrimonious. And I also feel that by sacking the cabinet, I'm not aware of the objective realities, but I can suspect that he wants an ESCO that will, listen to him, that will enable him to carry out his economic and political agenda. There's no basis for him retaining those that are suspects, those that he thinks might sabotage his ambition. So I think the strategy in this case is that, look, I'm likely to contest for this election, and I want people in my cabinet, that can deliver my manifesto, that can deliver my aspiration, that can go out to work. Because no matter how powerful you are, if you're a commissioner and then you are no longer in that office, you are going to lose a lot of perks and privileges. The cars you are going to use to mobilize from one rural area to the other, the resources, and then your position as a commissioner will draw, will open new frontiers. People are not your friends, will come to you because they want one thing or the other. So I think he's building a structure that will enable him to, to contest effectively and probably also. But it needs to go beyond that, because that is not enough. You have to also get the consent, the support of the rulers of the principalities and powers in that both at the state level and at the national level. And also it also depends on how you are able to win your foes, bring them together, including those that are your enemies. Because in politics, the vote of a professor is the same with the vote of a sex worker. So you cannot push anybody away. You need everybody to work with you as a team.
Today, when you remember what the late Napoleon Bonaparte said, he said, in politics, stupidity is not a handicap. So some things that happen in politics should not be taken for, the man don't know what they do. He has said the man is calculating.
Well, in politics, before you kick the ball, you anticipate the head that it will touch in the opponent's side. Before making a decision, you have calculated that, or you have painted a lot of scenarios. This man will have painted a lot of scenarios. What is the political worth of the commissioners and advisors that he has sacked? How strong are they on the ground? If he gets his own calculation right, he may not have any bearing on his getting nomination, because you have to know that some others will be interested in flying the party's flag during the primaries. And as the state governor, we all know that a governor of a state has too much influence on the structure of the party. So he's going now to go and weaken the structure that is inherited and try to erect his own structure. That informed is sacking the commissioners.
Yeah.
Because most of them will not likely be part of those people that will determine the primary. So it is a political calculation, but he may get it wrong. Like I said the other time, depending on all kinds of relationship, because he cannot sack members of the State of Assembly, majority of those who were opposed against him when the governor was in.
Yeah.
Most of them were against him. He cannot sack them. Those who were still on the ground. If the sacked commissioners and special advisors have the sympathy of majority of the assembly members, then Aiyedatiwa has a long way to go. Especially since the person that is speaking is not a politician, just a technocrat who served in the National Assembly. If he's not a politician, there is one thing for you to be popular, another thing for you to be influential, to have followership. If the deputy governor did not have followership in the war, and the other assists, maybe a big problem.
Wale already knows that in Nigeria, being a deputy governor, or for that matter, being a vice president, is like being a rubber stamp.
Yeah, and much also depends on your capacity. You know how strong you are. There are some deputy governors that are quite, fearsome in terms of their influence, in the political space. But I think, I believe he has taken decisions that best represent his aspiration. Because the other thing is that when you sack your commissioners, you have also created hope, raised hope. Two things. They have been sacked, they could also be brought back. So, but that hope is tied to the wishes and aspirations of the governor. So the governor has made those sacked commissioners to also look up to him.
What's the place of the godfathers in this?
Well, the governor has to take decisions that the constitution empowers him to take. But the godfathers are waiting there behind the curtain. When it's time for primaries, that is when the godfathers will now have to come on the field.
All right. Yeah, gentlemen, let's make some money. We'll go on a commercial break now. We'll be back shortly. Please stay with us.
Heading home from work, in the busy traffic, your car breaks down. Car horns blast. Your car is pushed aside. You call for help. Phone battery blinks and dies. You take a cab. Few miles, tire bursts. What a day. Frustrated, sweating, and tired. Nearing home, darkness envelops the street. Wow! Just one house is bubbling with life. Brilliant lights, loud music, smiling life, all welcome you.
We alone have light?
Yes, it's JRB Solar Energy Systems, my anniversary present to us.
No matter how dark life is, the sun is gonna shine on everything you do. JRB solar inverters, batteries, solar panels, solar street lights, and more. Telephone 0906 752 1111. Email sale@jrbsolar.com. JRB, the sun is gonna shine on everything you do.
Okay, welcome back. We're still in Ondo. Tunde, so you are saying for Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, it is not yet Uhuru.
It won't be a smooth ride for him because he has a lot of political tendencies to confront with, a lot of sacrifices here and there, a lot of handshaking that he has to do, especially if before the death of the governor, he was not in control of the structures of the party in the state. He has to start building new structures now.
Okay. We cannot but wish Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa very well. He needs it. Now to our next story, which takes us to Abuja. You know, Abuja, a planned city, officially became Nigeria's political capital on December 12, 1991. This is backed by law. Hence, no plan to move the capital back to Lagos. The special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, has refuted the rumor that President Tinubu plans to relocate the federal capital to Lagos. As far as Onanuga is concerned, there is no iota of truth in the allegation by mischief makers. They are simply bent on fueling needless ethnic mistrust just to pit the North against the South. Did you hear that?
Yes. You know, one thing is that we need to look at this issue, with very broad perspective.
Yeah.
When I read the responses of some of our northern brothers, for the first time I asked myself, when the capital was moved from Lagos by decree in 1976, we had the innocent assumption that it was done in good faith. Because two things were taken into consideration by the Abuja committee. First was that they wanted a place that had
a virgin land
that had no dominant ethnic group, a dominant culture. They also wanted.
Sorry, remember the first original place was Gwagwalada.
Yeah, they recommended so many cities, and then the Supreme Military Council picked Abuja out of. They even recommended Agege, who was far from Lagos at that time, was part of the recommendation. And they wanted a place that was central, that anybody can. And we all Nigerians were accepted it in good faith. That okay, move the capital. Up till now, compensation has not been paid to Lagos. Even though when the capital was moved from Bonn to Berlin,
it was supposed to have been paid.
Pay compensation. That's what is done. In Brazil, from Rio de Janeiro to Brazil, you pay a lot of compensation. But the state and people endured it. But for the first time, I'm now having a rethink. If you are now saying that there are 24 ministries and over 95% of them are in Abuja, and each ministry has parastatal, we have about almost 45 parastatals. The Ministry of Justice alone has about 9 departments. Then the Ministry of Finance has about 9 parastatals, all of them in Abuja. And when people are now saying that, I never had the impression that Abuja,
all of them in Abuja, healthy.
Yes, all of them in Abuja. Majority of
a healthy development.
We just say we accepted it in good faith.
Okay.
But for people to be saying that, coming out to read that means you are now raising the consciousness that the idea of even moving the capital in 1976 was actually there was a hidden agenda. That's the impression we are being given. Because if out of 24 ministries, just one parastatal, not even a ministry, and then some departments in CBN have been moved back to Lagos, what are we talking about? And you are raising all these doors, and people are even talking about research. What if people now insist on research only? We are just talking about moving of a little out of 24 ministries, just parastatal, and then you are raising these doors. And something also came to my mind that, look, I saw my good friend, Shetima, Arewa, all of them making sense. So it means some people are behind this, just this little tinkling. And I believe that as a country, we need to understand we're a plural society. Look at South Africa. They have actually one capital, Pretoria, but the working capital, there are 3. The Constitutional Court, which is like the Supreme Court, is in Johannesburg.
Yeah.
The Parliament is in Cape Town. The judiciary is in Bluffington. Look at Netherlands, Amsterdam and Hague. Amsterdam is the administrative headquarters. The Hague is the seat of government. Even Bonn, after it moved to Berlin, after the merger of South and West, a lot of head offices, the Ministry of Defense, Health, Education, they remain in Bonn for convenience, for administrative purposes. And look at in UK, there are some departments that are in Leeds, some are in London. So I believe that what are we talking about? That you are just moving some ministries, and they're on headquarters that are not even in Lagos. Look at NECO. NECO is in Mina. It's not in Abuja, and nobody is complaining. So, of course, there have been so many. Look at what we have in Kaduna. The Ministry of Defense, the military school, the Air Force in Makurdi, Armor, this thing in Bauchi. Nobody is complaining.
Names in Jos.
Because we see ourselves, the one in Kuru, even Poly College in Kano. We accepted it in good faith. But just a few departments, people are now saying, they want to bring that, and important people for that matter. Yeah. So I'm alarmed that some people don't see us as one, even though many of us insist that we are one country. You can have some capitals in Port Harcourt, or Calabar. If for administrative purposes, those things are more meaningful. So I'm really shocked that statesmen can go into this level, and it's giving us impression that there's a hidden agenda, the idea of moving the capital to Abuja, that they didn't tell us the full story.
Today, At the time, this, according to Thomas Paine, these are times that try men's souls. And so you are bound to read so many meanings into it. At the time, Calabar was the capital of Nigeria. Moved to Lokoja.
Yeah, from Lokoja to Lagos. Then Calabar to Lagos, yeah?
Yeah, and so now the politics of Nigeria is telling me about a north and a south divide.
Well, I think from the thinking of a lot of people that have responded, my own conclusion is that either we overrate the thinking faculty of certain people in Nigeria, or that we perceive them to be intelligent people. Because when you want to defend this kind of, you want to make this kind of decision, which is purely economic decision, you have to be rational in your analysis and your thinking. Like, for instance, now, about 3 weeks ago, the Minister for Interior has to raise alarm that how can you ask women who want to effect a change in their national identity card, ask them to travel from Lagos or from all parts of Nigeria to Abuja to have a change, a little change, a country of 200 million. Number two,
when the states can take care of that. When the state
can take care of that. Number two is that to register a simple company, you have to travel all the way from Lagos. Do you know that in 1999, it was President Olusegun Obasanjo who ordered the Maritime Ministry to move back to Lagos? They transfer Maritime Ministry from Lagos. That's a sea coast. There's no sea in Abuja, so there's no economic reason in their argument at all. And I want to believe that no matter how dangerous their utterances are, they should not be taken serious. Serious in the fact that, are we running Nigeria like a fiefdom? Are we not running Nigeria as a political state that belongs to some people, or we are running Nigeria as a purely economic state? Look at New York. Tomorrow, New York is the financial capital not only of America, but of the whole world. You and I know that in year 2022, the IGR of Lagos State alone is about 656.1 billion naira, which is 70% of all the IGR in all the states in Nigeria. Is it possible for you? Can the Abuja survive without all the industries that were here? It cannot survive. Abuja is being sustained by all parts of Nigeria. It is not the money from Abuja, because when you remove the ministry from Abuja and you remove some banks, central bank, there is nothing in Abuja. What are they producing? So economically, it is not even justifiable to say that. And all what the central bank governor was saying, that all these 5 departments, they conduct their affairs basically is in Lagos, because the headquarters of the major financial institutions are based in Lagos. It is easier for people to transfer business with them.
But let's look. Let's look at the speculation that the president is planning to move the capital back to Lagos. Is it tenable? You know,
that is,
how do you rationalize that?
That is not.
Sorry, because you are asking that some departments of the CBN and the headquarters of the FAAN should return to Lagos.
I think that is it's an extreme posture. It's verbal terrorism, because we are talking about 1 or 2 parasites, and then you are saying that. But you see, one thing, let us not lose sight of this important thing, that those northern leaders, those people from the north, I give kudos to them. They stand for their people. They defend their people. They don't hide their feelings. That is, no matter whether it is negative or positive, it's something that is value added. What are our own lawmakers? What are they doing?
Okay, you're talking north-south now.
Yeah, I'm talking about those who are even talking about that. They are even concerned about the interest of their people, whether it is over-exaggerated, but at least they are speaking out. You know, they are saying that even the budget does not favor them. Where our own legislative body, they did not speak the past 8 years. The other cause did not complain about the budget. That means it favored them, you know. But our own senators and also that claim from the south, where are they? If they are actually representing, what is the network between us and them? Because if the people are agitated, that look, you know, we want to preserve our interests and all that, it has its own good aspect. However, Abuja, to me, should not be seen as a property of anybody. It should be seen as something belonging to us. And if they want to move a few parasata to Calabar, to Port Harcourt and all that, I think it should be seen as something that is done for administrative convenience. I don't think anybody should be opposed to it.
Tunde, again, I'm worried about this north-south thing. in a 21st century Nigeria, very close to 64 years of, some would say, a flag and anthem independence. We're talking this way?
Well, I think it is because people who present themselves as the leaders of the people, they are actually talking for themselves. Because the issue is that an African northerner, they are more concerned about their welfare. But people are not talking about the welfare of the African northerners. It is the political elite. The guy who called himself, I'm very sorry to say that the Yerima is the leader of the northern youth. He knows that the guy was born in Agege. He grew up in Agege, Lagos. It was really June 12th that a lot of people came up and said they were talking Nadeko. And now you now lift yourself up, claiming to be talking for northerners. Then you now ask yourself, how many voters or how many people can these people come out? They now reduce a serious national issue to personal or political issue. It means it's unfortunate that our political elite, they are making us incapable of emerging from an ethnic divided nation to a one nation. Because anything that is done is in the interest of Nigeria. And mind you, throughout the 8 years that President Buhari was there, all the notable institutions in Nigeria were moved to Abuja. It's only maritime resources that was not moved to Abuja because Obasanjo had said they should stay in Lagos. FCA, all their facilities were in Lagos. They moved them to Abuja when they had no single office in Abuja.
And the busiest,
and they have to,
the busiest
airport in Nigeria is in Lagos. So let's not look at, which means all those people who have been ruling Nigeria. Why Nigeria is a problem is that people look at political or ethnic consideration to run Nigeria rather than a business entity that must survive. Mark you, in 1914, the North and South was amalgamated in order to make it for the British to be able to combine the resources from the North and South together, because South is making more money, more revenue for the British colonial office. So they don't want to be bringing money from home office to run Nigeria. So they merged North and South together, not looking at the political consideration. And that was why they were able to run Nigeria as a country there. So the thing is that in the 21st century, we should forget about ethnic sentiments. Because what matters is the well-being of the average man on the street, either in Kaduna, Abeokuta, Uyo, or Kavansha.
Yeah.
They should not be, so-called leaders, elite leaders, should not be aggravating and talking about, because it's about themselves. It's not about the people.
Well, at a time like this, we are wondering where our statesmen and women are.
Yeah.
Where are they?
Yeah, I think it raises a lot of questions, because when you look at the positions we are talking about, people came from political divides. They put aside their, but I think at the center of this is the issue of the kind of future we want to build for Nigeria, the kind of structure we want to build for Nigeria, and whether we are ready to accommodate each other, whether we are ready to listen to each other, so that at the end of the day, we are going to have a nation that is built on trust, that an Efik man and a Shekiri man, we have trust in that country. An Agas person, Birom, TV, Zuru, from the north, they will have confidence. Look, my interest is well represented in this country. Not a country that is seen as the property of a few.
And so the last thing I want to drop concerning this story is simply that, according to the special advisor to Mr. President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, there is no truth in the speculation that a plan is in the offing to move the capital city of Nigeria from Abuja back to Lagos. Okay, let's go to our next story, our last story for today. Following wanton killings in Plateau State and rising insecurity in the land, the Pan-Yoruba socio-cultural group, Afenifere, has called for the establishment of state police, even as it annulled the office of the acting leader of the group. This development was contained in a communique signed by its publicity secretary, Jare Ajayi. Afenifere expressed displeasure over the state of the nation, saying it was time to restructure the country as a means toward a new lease of life and better country. We couldn't agree more with him today.
Yes, well, number one.
Take the word restructure. Let's start from
there. Well, the word restructuring. You see, we discovered that in the last 4 weeks or so, insecurity has had a new meaning in Nigeria. The law we have, immediately the president took over. It will appear as if they have taken advantage of that thing and moving again. Insecurity, we are not battling with it. Then you begin to ask yourself questions. For what reasons are these people carrying out these killings, especially in Jos and some other parts of the country? What it means is that if our security forces, because I know that Mr. President appointed new service chiefs, he met them, he asked them to define new strategies to ensure their security, because security of life and property is the number one priority of any sitting president.
That's
any
it.
fund. And he has done that. But the thing now is that it will appear as if the team is being sponsored beyond what we are. The threat to security now is beyond the ordinary Nigerian. And that comes to question the issue of the fact that we have to, the issue of state police as raised by Afenifere is as old as the Fourth Republic. We have been on it since 1999 because of the insecurity. So it means that not only state police, I think we have to have a multi-level policing. Multi-level policing from the local police to the local government police to the district police and to state policing. Number two is that police officers that we have in Nigeria today, I don't know whether they are beyond 500,000. Let us start with transferring police officers. Anytime we are going to restructure the police, let us transfer them to their local government areas. You will see that people will be ready to defend their people. That is number one. Number two is the fact that the National Assembly, the last National Assembly, 9th National Assembly, it discussed the issue of state policing. I think the President Tinubu should summon enough political will and courage and go back to that 2014 National Constitutional Conference that accepted state police. There's no way you can police a country of 200 million people using a centralized police force from Abuja. It is not possible. A nation of 250 ethnic groups that has not up to 1 million soldiers and policemen. So it is not possible. The best thing for us is, as a measure of guaranteeing the security of people, let us go back to multi-level policing in order to give people assurance. Because as it is now, it will appear as if non-state actors, I mean the bandits and government, are much more powerful and have intelligent resources than the established police and military.
Well, let's digress a little. When a minister in the land, last week said he was being hounded, that's in reaction to what happened at Ibadan.
Yes.
By powerful Nigerians, very powerful Nigerians. Are we saying there are people who are more powerful than the country?
Well,
or we know what he is talking about?
Well, an individual cannot be as powerful as a state. But what it means is that there are powerful individuals who can influence state decisions, who can influence the law, who can bend the law, who see themselves as above the law. And it's a reflection of the fact that in Nigeria, we have always raised the problem that there is no rule of law. The rule of law means that the president and the man on the street, the law sees them as equal. Not that because you are the son of an IG or the son of a rich man, then you are more superior than an ordinary man. So I think I fully support the position of Afenifere. And I'm happy for the organization because an organization that was set up March 26, 1955, not more than, after their meeting in the home of Awolowo, in Okeado. Over 70 years. You could see what Akpadokun wrote about 70 years of Afenifere. And he traced it to that their first meeting, where 60 people were invited, but only about 8 people came. But over 60 years, that group has been the dominant voice here. But in the past 10, 15 years, that voice has diminished to the extent that it has lost its moral authority. And that's why you hardly read Afenifere stories in headlines, because it's happened to be losing touch with the people. Because, I'm happy now that when an organization realizes that it needs to speak for the people and is saying the right thing, people will listen and continue to respect the organization. So what Afenifere has said is the old song that we hope that the owners of this country that we are begging now to give us state police, they will not be the one to be begging the people that please come, instead of we want to give you state police. We are overripe for state police. And there is a misconception about the role of police.
Should this not be a constitutional matter?
Yes, it's a constitutional matter.
Should the National Assembly not be involved here?
Yes, but first of all, we must raise our voices, and we have been raising our voices. So I expect now that, we need to, whether a private member bill or people in the House of Assembly, we need to put pressure on our constituencies. It's for the good and for the prosperity of Nigeria. There is that fear that, for state police, no. You must understand that police is not about politics. The principal function of police is preservation of law and order, giving support services, enforcement of law, emergency responses. Sometimes when I drive on the Kurudu Highway or when I go to Abuja, I see children, 4, 6 years, 7 years, trying to cross
the road.
6 lanes. The function of the policeman is to go there and assist them, take them to go, or sometimes you see a pregnant woman, because there's no provision for physically challenged people. So they need to cross the highway, going to school. I wish I could stop and help them. That's the function of the police, to maintain law and order, to ensure that when people are fighting, you separate them, to protect the environment. Crime is just one function of the police. And, in Nigeria...
Crime busting.
Yes.
Crime busting.
Detecting crime and then prosecution and all. There are so many functions that, the police have. And since 1861, there was nothing done by the Nigerian police. It grew out of our, desire to have,
Let me pause there a little. Tunde, hear what some antagonists of state police are saying. They're saying states that will hardly pay salaries would pay. Can the states afford to pay the police? Is it a tame argument?
Well, I think the question we should ask them is that can those people who are comfortable in that state live well if the state is not secure? Can you enjoy your money? Can anybody, any rich man from Abuja to Kaduna drive a good car between Abuja and Kaduna nowadays, last 2 years? Can you do that without putting your hand on your chest? Now, the thing is that security is the very first thing. And people have to know that. The moment you grant state police, that is what we are talking about restructuring. The federal government has to shed its powers. They devolve power to the states. When you devolve power, for instance, we are talking of solid minerals.
Today, now, let's quickly go there. The last government of Muhammadu Buhari told us it is possible to remove power generation and transmission from the executive list to the concurrent list. It's gone.
He has done it, but what resources are you going to use to start electricity? To start railway? What resources is the state going to use? Let them allow each of the states, like we are talking about solid minerals now. Let each state, 36 states in Nigeria, let them control their solid minerals, 50% of their mineral resources.
My state, for instance,
so that they can have money.
My state, for instance, Akwa Ibom, generates 101 megawatts of power from the Ibom power plant. That's somewhere at Ikorabasi, Wale. But when it empties what it generates
to the national level,
I don't know how much comes back to the state.
So that is why we are talking of devolution of power. That power has to be devolved. When you generate your power, you can only give it to the federal at your own level, not as a compulsion. Now it is a compulsion. When you generate power, you take it to the national transmission company. Transmission company will now distribute to.
But I'm saying states are now empowered to generate electricity.
They are empowered to, but the ways of generating is not spelled out yet. We have a lot to do. Why is it that none of this?
So I have trouble with selling this idea of restructuring the country.
Well, the restructuring is about power devolution. When you have no power, when you have no resources, when you have no control over your resources, you have no power. Because resources is power.
Yeah, if you mean to restructure this country, Wale, yes, the National Assembly they must buy into it.
Yes, we need to convince our legislators.
Who are we?
The represent each constituency. So our people we need to engage them constructively. And those who are opposed to it, we should not be angry with them. We need to engage them. We need to find out what are your fears. The negotiation that led to the end of apartheid, it was, the white regime, apartheid regime, they told, the ANC their fears. And, they had to negotiate to reach a compromise. So we need to engage them because they also have their genuine fears that, look, are we not going to have a situation where the country will, and all that. So it is our responsibility to have constructive engagement with them. That this idea, at the end of the day, after we have had it before, when we had regional autonomy. And why is it that when you go to North, East, West, everybody is talking about developments between 1950 and 1960 that we have not been able to equal? Look at University of Ife, look at ABU, look at UNN. No region has been able to build institutions like that. Look at the Western House. Look at Cocoa House. Look at the textile industry in the north. Look at Odua textile, built within a short period of 8 years. Now we have, since 1960 to this time, you know how many years? We have not been able to surpass the achievements of that era.
All right, today quickly, let's go here. We are talking about Afenifere. Afenifere is equal to Ohaneze Ndigbo, is equal to Arewa Consultative Forum. Do you have implicit confidence and faith in them?
Well, I think your relevance is based on whether you are doing what your people want. The people of Afenifere, we see the new leadership now. They have infused a lot of people there, both the intelligentsia, both the people who have business background. It is those people that make up that unit that will determine, that will cut the way forward. The North, the Arewa Consultative Forum, they know what they wanted. The Arsonists people know what they wanted. The Afenifere people too know what they wanted. Let all these people come to a round table and negotiate.
Is it possible?
Well, we have no choice.
Wale, is it possible?
We have no choice.
It is possible.
We have no choice than to come around and negotiate and allay each other's fear, like he said. Allay each other's fear.
Because as we sit here, all of you and my humble self know that mutual suspicion, mutual mistrust and distrust are the orders of the day.
We can only solve that one by coming to the table and agree on what we want to do. Nobody must be ruling from behind. Do you know, I believe that because some people know they have the control of the military, they can say anything, anytime. And
Okay. I wish Afenifere well. I wish it well. What about you?
Well, I wish Afenifere.
I hope the new blood now do something.
The Minister of Police is a public officer for legal investigation and criminal emergency.
Yes.
No state can do it. No federal government can do it alone. You need to involve the states.
Okay, then we will apply the brakes here, but not before thanking the backroom boys and, of course, Wale Adeoye and Tunde Abato. I thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So that's it on the program for today and this week. You may watch a repeat broadcast of this particular episode tonight at 11. Join us on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 for an expanded version of Journalist Hangout. Now, we are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. Bye-bye now. Take care.
Following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. ShopX TV has brought you the latest innovations in lifestyle, fitness, and cooking from across the globe. And now, we are proud to introduce to you a game changer for your home security. The ShopX TV Smart Security